Right, diving right in today, we're going to tackle this procalcitonin thing. You've probably heard of it. It's getting a lot of buzz, especially when it comes to how we're figuring out if someone's got a nasty bacterial infection.
Yeah, it's pretty much revolutionizing the whole diagnosis and management scene for bacterial infections.
And we've got like a mountain of research on this. Stuff that goes way beyond just the basics. So if you think you've got PCT all figured out, get ready to have your mind blown.
We're talking specifics like what the different levels actually mean, and get this, how this tiny protein is actually helping us in the fight against antibiotic resistance. It's wild.
Okay, so before we go too crazy, back up a sec. Most people, when they hear PCT, they think thyroid, right?
Right, right.
But it's not really about thyroid function at all, is it?
You know, it's funny you say that. The thyroid gland does produce PCT, but it's actually a precursor to this other hormone called calcitonin. But here's the thing. PCT itself, it's stolen the spotlight. Its levels in your blood, they go through the roof when you've got a bacterial infection brewing.
Interesting.
And the higher those levels climb, the more likely it is you're dealing with something serious. I'm talking like a really nasty bacterial infection, maybe even sepsis.
Hold on, sepsis. That's when your body kind of goes haywire, right? Like an immune system meltdown.
Exactly. Sepsis, it's a real life-threatening situation. It's like your body's response to an infection just goes into overdrive and it starts damaging your own organs. And guess what?
Right.
PCT, it's a ridiculously accurate predictor of sepsis. Studies have even shown that PCT is way better than things like C-reactive protein, that's CRP, at spotting sepsis early on. It's like an early warning system.
So we're talking like a red flag waving, hey, watch out, sepsis might be coming.
Yeah.
And I noticed our sources, they actually give some hard numbers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like specific PCT levels and what they mean. So if you're below 0.05 nanograms per milliliter, you're probably in the clear, right?
Yeah, that's the sweet spot. Below 0.05 ngml, and you can generally rule out anything too serious. But then it starts to get interesting. Between 0.05 and zero point 0.5 ngml, that's where things get a little fuzzy. Low risk, but you definitely want to keep a close eye on things.
Makes sense.
Now, bump that up between 0.5 and 2.0 ngml, and now we're talking a much higher chance of a bacterial infection. This is where you really got to pay attention.
And if it goes over 2.0, that's when the alarm bells really start going off.
You got it. Anything above 2.0 ngml and you're looking at a severe bacterial infection could be sepsis, needs immediate action, no question.
So you've got this kind of sliding scale of risk. The higher you go, the more worried you should be.
Yeah.
But what about those cases where it isn't so straightforward? Like, what other things can affect how a doctor interprets these levels?
That's a really good point. It's never just about the numbers. You have to look at the whole picture. What's the patient's medical history? What symptoms are they showing? What are the other lab results saying?
Right, right.
Like, for example, someone who's dealing with a chronic inflammatory condition, they might naturally have a slightly higher PCT baseline, or some medications, they can mess with PCT production. It's a piece of the puzzle, not the whole puzzle.
It's not just plug it in, get the answer. Doctors have to use their brains, put all the pieces together.
100%. Think about it like this. Someone walks in, fever, chills, heart's racing, classic signs of an infection, right? But bacterial or viral? That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's where a PCT test shines. High PCT level, plus all those symptoms I just mentioned, points to bacteria. You're probably looking at antibiotics. But normal PCT points to a virus. Antibiotics won't do a thing.
And that's where this whole idea of antibiotic stewardship comes in, making sure we're not overusing these powerful drugs and creating resistance.
You hit the nail on the head. We've been throwing antibiotics around like candy for too long. It's a major problem. And PCT can help us be smarter, more responsible, and use them only when we absolutely have to.
And it looks like PCT might even help us track how well the antibiotics are working, maybe even adjust the dosage. Is that something doctors are doing regularly now?
It's still early days, but the research is super promising. Some studies are finding that keeping an eye on PCT levels while someone's on antibiotics, it can tell us how long they need to stay on them. You might even be able to stop them sooner in some cases, which is a win-win, right? Less risk of resistance, and the patient gets better faster.
So PCT, it's not just a diagnostic tool, it's like a roadmap guiding the whole treatment process. It's incredible how one protein can have such a huge impact.
And that brings up another fascinating question. As we unlock more secrets about PCT, could we use it to personalize antibiotic treatment? Imagine tailoring the dosage and how long someone's on antibiotics based on their unique PCT response. It's a really exciting area for future research.
We started this deep dive talking about how PCT is a game changer. And I think we've made it pretty clear why. This isn't just about figuring out if someone has an infection. It's about using that information to make better, safer decisions about how we treat them.
Exactly. It's about getting people better while also protecting our antibiotics for the long haul.
That's a powerful combination. For everyone listening, don't stop here. Keep digging into this PCT thing. It's a rapidly evolving field, new discoveries popping up all the time. And as you learn more, ask yourself, are there ethical considerations we need to think about when relying on just one biomarker like PCT? How do we make sure we're using it responsibly so we don't end up with unintended consequences down the road? These are important questions to keep in mind as we navigate this ever-changing world of medicine.
You've been listening to the Learning Podcast, a production of metaNESTA. Remember, learning is a journey, one step, one insight, one skill at a time. We'll see you next time. Keep learning, stay curious, and as always, be awesome.